Good morning, friends. Good morning, Miss.Truly. How are you today? I hope you guys are doing fine. I hope you guys are always healthy. Today, Group 3 will explain about digital learning exercises, and the members of the group are Daniel, Seto, Elna, and me, Dandi. Now, let's take a look at our presentation, shall we? So, today we are going to talk about these stuffs. The first one is introduction and listening skill types that will be delivered by me, Dandi, and then listening strategy and using technologies to teach listening that will be explained by Elna. Listening for entertainment and for gathering information, and also critical listening that will be explained by Seto, and finally Edpuzzle that will be explained by Daniel. There aren't much things to be explained, so keep up the spirit and stay alive until the very last slide, okay, friends? Now let's get into the first explanation. Okay, so general listening types. First, we need to know what is listening, and according to International Listening Association, listening is the process of receiving, constructing meaning from, and responding to spoken and or non-verbal messages. There are two types of general listening. The first one is discriminative listening, and the second one is comprehensive listening. Now let's break down about those two briefly, okay? Discriminative listening, it is developed at early age through childhood until the adulthood. Discriminative listening does not involve understanding meaning. So it is basically just the ability of distinction between sounds of voices, and we are able to recognize differences. We know foreign language, we know regional accent, and we know the clues to emotions and feelings. For example, even though we are still a very little kid, we know when someone is not from that area, like from the speech. Oh, this one have different accent from me. Where is this man come from? Things like that. Okay, so that is discriminative listening. And then the second one is comprehensive listening. It involves understanding meaning. So it requires appropriate vocabularies and language skill to comprehend the message. So without knowing certain vocabulary, without knowing appropriate vocabulary, and without having language skill, then it will be harder for us to comprehend the message, things like that, okay? So, and then the next one is specific listening types. There are three types of specific listening. The first one is informational listening, second one is critical listening, and the third one is therapeutic or empathic listening. So basically, informational listening is we listen to learn, and it is less active because the focus is more to take information and facts, not criticize or analyze. For example, listening to news and listening to an instruction. When we listen to an instruction, we focus on the instruction, right? We aren't trying to criticize the instruction, right? And then critical listening, it is more active because the focus is to evaluate or scrutinize what is being said. So it involves problem solving and decision making, and it is used to analyze opinion and make judgment. For example, when we listen to a campaign, when we want to vote for a new, maybe president, we listen to their campaign, and then we analyze our opinion and we make judgment whether we will vote for this man or not. And then the second example is to listen to an advertisement, like maybe when we watch an advertisement about bottled water. This water will make you stay young. Then we will make judgment. Oh, is that true? Is that real? And then we will try to analyze and make judgment, things like that. And then the last one is therapeutic or empathic listening. It is basically when we listen to our friends' problem, when they tell us their story and their problems. They are actually therapeutic or empathic listening. It involves attempting to understand feelings and emotion, and rather than giving advice or making judgment, therapeutic or empathic listening encourage the speaker to explain and elaborate their feelings, things like that. Okay, so that's all. Now we will move on to the next explanation that will be delivered by Elna.
Now we move into listening strategies. L2 learners might find that listening practice is challenging for some reasons. However, they can cope with the difficulties by applying several strategies. In 2013, Walker and White state that listening strategies refer to efforts to overcome problems in understanding spoken messages. And they include actions such as making inferences, predicting, and asking for clarification. In 1982, Crescent stated that those strategies can also be applied when learners are engaged in communication, not only for L2 learning process. Learners can decrease the use of strategies as they are getting more competent with the second language. In 2009, Anderson and Lynch points out that teachers need to provide learners with sufficient amount of training on using the strategies, since it is considered as the most effective way to help them to cope with their struggle in comprehending listening materials. These are some examples of listening strategies. First, inferring, guessing the meaning of an unfamiliar word from the context. So I'd like to give you an example. Imagine you are a tourist in a country whose language you don't speak. In a restaurant, you hand over a credit card to pay for your bill. But the server seems to say something apologetic. Even though you don't understand his word, you can probably conclude that the restaurant doesn't take the credit cards, and you need to pay it with your cash. So we can infer that the relationship between people from the words they use, without having to find out directly. The second is predicting, practicing to guess what the speaker is likely to say to comprehend better. Imagine that you are hearing a passage with the title Weather. Then you can expect to hear some words like sunny, windy, thunder, and etc. So it happens when we predict the kind of words that the passage is going to mention. The third is seeking clarification, repeating audio file or video to clarify the missed information. And the last is focusing, trying to focus on overall idea rather than word-by-word meaning. Using technology to teach listening skills. Listening skills is also important in learning English language, but it was taught poorly in the past. Teachers put emphasis only on listening for information. They tend to control when and where, and how much time learners need to listen the passage, and also kinds of comprehension tasks that students need to accomplish. However, as Rose points out that listening is vital in the language classroom because it provides input for the learner. Noonan also highlights that non-reciprocal listening practice is needed to get learners personalize their own learning. In learning a language, listening practice fall into three categories. First, listening for pleasure or entertainment, active listening or listening for information, and critical listening, that is listening to give response to certain issue. English teachers need to be aware of technology which provide learners with the multitude of opportunities for listening the spoken language, to immerse their student with good amount of exposure and language experiences. There are some digital tools that can be used to teach listening skill in each of the category. That will be explained by my friends.
The first category is listening for pleasure or entertainment. In this category, listening is seen as a receptive skill. Sometimes, learners do not need to do any activity to produce language while listening. Learners are required to simply listen to the language for their brain to get used to the sounds and meaning in the target language they are learning. Some technological tools they can use to practice their passive listening skill are lyricstraining.com and podcasts using Spotify. The second category is listening for information. When we are listening something, we involve in informational listening. We can find this condition when we listen to the news, watch a documentary, and listening to step-by-step of instruction of a new device. In this condition, we are actually listening with a purpose. When we are listening to learn or be instructed, we are taking in new information and facts. We often taking notes in informational listening for the way to recording the key information, so we can review it later. In this era, we can easily access informational listening by visiting YouTube. YouTube provides many videos in many languages including English. The biggest benefits from using YouTube is you can replay or pause the videos as often as you like to dispense the information clearly. Another website which provides information of videos is TED Talk. TED Talk provides various interesting contents with 6 big themes including technology, entertainment, design, business, science, and global issues. TED Talk is suitable to apply in an extensive practice of listening, since learners can choose any videos which interest them. The last category is critical analytical listening. In critical analytical listening, we are assessing or analyzing what speaker is saying. It is much more active behavior than informational listening. Critical analytical listening involves some sorts of problem solving or decision making. When you are listening in critical analytical listening, you will also asking some analytical question in yourself, like what is the speaker trying to say, what argument is being presented by the speaker, how does it differ with what I have already known and believed. So in this case we can know the differences between informational listening and critical analytical listening. In informational listening, we focus on receiving a new information or facts, but in critical analytical listening, we will involve analysis of the information being received and adjustment with what we already know or believe. And we can conclude that critical listening is therefore fundamental to actual process of learning. By doing this, learner will become a better listener and broaden their knowledge and perception of other people and their relationships. To practice the critical analytical listening, you can use some tools like Edpuzzle and Audacity. Edpuzzle is a teaching tool used to place interactive content into pre-existing videos from a variety of sources, such as TED or YouTube, or into videos you have made, while Audacity is a free program for creating and editing audio files. They are powerful but easy to use, and there are a number of tutorial videos on how to use it. If you're interested with Audacity, you can download it in this link.
And the next is using Edpuzzle for listening tasks. And what is Edpuzzle itself? And when watching a video, teachers and students usually need to wait until the video is finished to have some discussions related to the content of the video. But with Edpuzzle, you can insert questions into video of your choice in order to add interactivity. Edpuzzle is a teaching tool to create an interactive content such as multiple choice questions or open-ended questions into existing video available from the other source such as YouTube, TED, or new video you have created. Edpuzzle is also an appropriate tool to help implement flipped classroom concept. And then how to use the Edpuzzle. The first thing, you should create an icon. First thing you need to do to use Edpuzzle is creating an icon. Visit edpuzzle.com and then click on the Teacher Start Now button. A brief introduction about Edpuzzle will be presented. If you want to have a brief walkthrough toward the features such as streaming video and add questions, you can follow along the tutorial. Click Create My First Lesson, then you will be asked to register yourself by clicking Google or Edmodo. To create an account without using an email, fill out the information in the form as appropriate and click Sign Up. After that, you may make a lesson. To add notes and questions to video, click Search at the top of the web page. Then type topic or keyword of the video you are looking for into the search bar or add URL by typing it in the search bar. After that, you may edit video content. When you have already obtained the video that you want to use for your lessons, you can edit the video. During the process, you can save any progress you have made by clicking Save button. To edit the video, there are 4 features you can use, namely crop, audio track, and audio note, and quizzes. And then to navigate between editing options, click on the icons at the top of the screen. And after that, we have 3 things: crop, audio track, and audio notes. For crop, to access crop option, click on the scissors icon at the top of the screen. The beginning and or end can be trimmed off if only a specific section of the video is to be used. To crop the video, click and drag the red indicators at the bottom of the video. After that, from the audio track, an audio track is a recording that spans the entire length of the video. This is useful to add a new lecture or commentary to an already existing video. And then audio notes. An audio note pauses the video and plays the audio clip recorded, such as a verbal comment or note about a piece of the video. And after those 3 things, we have the quizzes. The last and the most useful features from Edpuzzle is quizzes, where you can add questions to assess your students' understanding or students' reactions toward the video. To add quizzes, click on the questions mark icon at the top of the screen. Below the video, click in the video timeline to select a location for the questions. Then click on the green questions mark to add a questions in that location. When viewers of the video reach the quiz marker, the video will be paused and prompt the viewers with questions they need to answer. By adding this quiz, students will be engaged in an interactive activities. The content is played. It is very suitable for fostering independent learning or self-directed learning. And after that, you may save and assigning the lesson. And when finished adding content to the video, click on the blue finish button in the top right corner of the screen. When finished changing the option, click the send button. After that, you may add the classes. Teacher can create classes, edit or add students to a class by clicking on the My Class button, then Add Class. After that, you can see the content of the class by clicking on the class under My Classes. After you add the class, you may invite the students. Students can make an Edpuzzle students icon using their Gmail icon. To have students access the interactive video content, they need to be invited to the class and join it. Click on the Invite Your Student button and a window will pop up with a link that can be copied and sent to the students. When they click that link, they will be able to join the classroom and view any of the content that has been posted to it. This link could also be posted to a Moodle site or any other studying platform. And I think that's all from our group. Thank you for watching our presentation.